Надоели небесные сласти, хлебе считайте жрать ржаной. Нам надоели бумажные страсти.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Animation Pilgrimage, where Sean and I take a look at every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I am Tennille.
And I am Sean.
And today we are looking at 1969's Ukrainian film, Mystery Buff.
Ukrainian?
Yes.
Not Russian.
It still had to go through the Russian government to get made / not published because it didn't actually ever... Well, we'll get there. But yes, it is our first Ukrainian film, Mystery Buff.
Okay.
Bouffe. I think it's Mystery Bouffe.
It's another interesting film. Spoilers, communism is good, y'all.
Okay. Fun fact about why we've been seeing so many of these communism is good narratives. I mean, like, obviously, because it comes from, like, that part of the world where everybody's communist, but also it was, like, the 50-year anniversary of the revolution to become communist.
Oh.
So that's why there is specifically so much celebration about it at this point in time.
Okay.
By the way, this film was given to us by Redwaytoo. They have given us Russian films in the past. Obviously, this one's Ukrainian, but...
Close enough.
Yeah. So thank you so much. They actually also gave me a ton of history surrounding this movie that I did not know before.
And on top of that, they went through and translated the entire movie for us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this episode would not be possible without them. Like,
yes.
In the slightest. Thank you so much for putting forth all that effort. We really, really appreciate it. So anyway.
Do we want to do a synopsis, or are you on a tangent?
No. Let's talk about what's going on in this movie.
Okay, so... there's a framing device of a bunch of real people dressed as clowns, and every now and again... Mimes, clowns, they're doing a lot of pageantry, that's for sure. Yes. And there's like 4 guys and a gal, and they do a bunch of stuff. They sing random songs. They're the ones that tell the whole story. They're the ones that voice everyone, I'm pretty sure.
Them being there instantly lets you know that all of this is going to be a very in-your-face parody of all of this that's going on.
It's like a big old parody, satire, big old screw you guys type of film. Very tongue-in-cheek. So... and
without being from that region, we can't exactly know exactly what it is they're saying, but thanks to some of the context clues Redway has given us and, you know, what we've seen from these films in the past, I feel like and with how ham-fisted they're being, I feel like I could kind of put some things together.
I wonder what you guys are doing here. Okay. So they're telling a story about many groups of different people, which are shown as like one individual person each, generally.
Right.
So you got like the army guy, you have the priest, you have the merchant, you have the intelligent men, you have
bourgeoisie,
you have the rich, like all of these characters, and then you have the collective group,
which is like the working class.
Which is the working class, and they're drawn in a very different art style, and like, they look very different and purposely so. And these other people are like hard and serious and realistic. I don't know if that's the correct term.
And like the way their proportions are drawn is like they focus big on the eyes and
big eyes,
big
and
hands,
huge hands.
Yeah.
Because they do things with their hands and they're working class, and this is what they do. So, the framing device for this story is all of the Earth is at war. So much war to the point where the entire Earth is drowning in blood.
Yeah.
So the working class builds a boat, a giant ark for people to escape all of these other classes as well.
Yeah.
And these are the only people, supposedly, that survive the flood of blood from the endless fighting.
I mean, sort of, yeah.
Sort of. I mean, like, that's what they're going for here.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have our quote-unquote country. Mm-hmm. Let's just call it our country boat.
Our country arc.
Mm-hmm. To start with, all of the non-working class people just kind of are existing on this boat, and the working class like sit down and make a table and they make a bunch of stuff, table and food and all this stuff, and they sit down and start eating it, and everyone else is like, hey, we're better than them, we don't need to work, we'll change things so that it's all for us.
Yeah, like we should have the food.
Mm-hmm. So we're going
But we don't want to like sit with them because they're unclean and gross.
Yeah, no. So we're going to institute a monarchy and give ourselves a czar or a king or whatever you want to call them.
Uh-huh.
And so they're like, all right, the czar is in charge and you guys are not. And we're going to demand you go underneath the boat and you have to give us all of your stuff because it's law now and it's the rules and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so while they're getting all the working class people put underneath the boat, the czar eats all the food. And then all of the other cartoonish villains of this story are like, wait a minute, hey, that's not cool, man. Hey, I know. It's like, oh man, this sucks. Hey, you know what? This king thing, not working out for us. How about instead we try democracy?
Ah!
And so they get rid of they get the working class people on their side, like, hey, we're all equal now, and we're gonna get rid of the king, and then we'll work together, but mostly are going to be in charge, and you'll just have to deal with it.
Uh-huh.
But, like, we're all equal now, except we're not.
This falls apart quickly because the working class is just like, we've just traded one king for 50. This sucks. And so
they kill and get rid of ruined now.
Yeah.
And this is where things get real weird.
Yeah, this is where the political commentary loses me a little bit because I don't necessarily understand what all of the like historical references are supposed to be connecting here.
From what I can tell.
Yeah.
This is my guess.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, this could be wildly incorrect. So obviously we have the Tsar, who was overthrown, and then they try to institute democracy, which very quickly got dethroned. And after all of this, the country/boat is just in tatters as socialism sits there and tries to rebuild, and obviously they're not doing so hot. I think that's essentially what is going on here.
Right.
In like real life,
because they're saying like
USSR.
Because it kind of like cuts away and it's like hunger. It's like hunger has replaced democracy. Yeah. Essentially. The 1%, they don't have anything left.
Okay.
But then,
so
they run into
a godlike being from the future who introduces themselves the same way that the working class people talk about themselves.
Yeah.
And this future person is actually animated, quote unquote, animated in an interesting way because they're a real person silhouette, but with video playing over it of people working and like very socialistic ideals of everybody works, everybody's equal, and stuff like that.
I would say communist, but sure.
Sure, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But like that's what it's going for here. And they're like, this sounds great, how do we get there? Right, we're climbing into the heavens.
And then they show up in hell?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Now they start, I'm gonna call it like planeswalking, or like
they start planeswalking, and they've made it down to hell.
They're going to other realms of existence.
The 1% are there and are trying. I feel like this is all a metaphor for capitalism.
hell is capitalism?
Hell is capitalism? I'm just putting out guesses here. I'm not sure.
I don't know. We'll play through it, and then maybe we can try to piece this together a little bit more. So yeah, they get to hell, and all of the people, the bad. Or
maybe heaven. I feel like heaven was more capitalism, and hell was like more military based.
I don't know. It's another form of capitalism.
Yeah.
Either way, they get to hell, and all the other cartoonish villains are there. Mm-hmm. Except now they're demons. Because of course they are. And they're like shooting and firing and like doing all this horrible stuff to the people, and they're like, "This is nothing. Is this hell?" They have this. They say like the demons are like firing bullets and tanks and stuff at them, and the working class just stand there like, "Stop it! This is annoying."
That. Yeah. Have you ever worked in a factory?
And then they proceed to destroy hell.
Yeah.
And then they move on.
And they're like, well, this hell thing's not for us, so we just gotta keep moving forward.
And then they get to heaven, and heaven's like, yay, everything's great and pretty and wonderful and amazing, and we'll make your outer self look amazing. And it's like very obviously shallow, covering up everything. And the working class is like, is this what we're aiming for? This is garbage.
Well, yeah, because there's this whole montage where they like fix up the working class, but then they just leave them there to start like collecting dust and stuff, and I'm like, yep.
Yeah, no, this is very accurate. And the working class is like, no, this is also garbage and fake and shallow, and they destroy heaven. And they're like, well, we just gotta keep going. We're going to find our true heaven on earth. Yeah. As the godly being had called it.
Yeah. So then they run across an empty, like a town full of empty factories.
Yeah, after like a long time of just wandering in nothingness, essentially.
Yeah. Well, after a long montage of them all working together and clasping hands and...
Like, if someone falls, someone else picks them up. And they keep doing this over and over again. And then they finally find this giant, like, just... Factories as far as the eye can see, and everyone's like, oh, thank God! Factories and farmland and things we can take care of and working class stuff!
Yeah.
Yes! And everyone's happy because everyone is working and doing their part. They're doing their part and working in conditions that they feel are acceptable. With no one controlling them. The end. Communism is good, y'all.
I was like, okay. What a wild ride.
And like throughout here, you got the live people pantomiming various events that...
Yeah, and it's like, now we're going into Act 3. And then they like kind of give a little brief synopsis of like...
What's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen. Sort of. Yeah. This is all very, very over the top and not subtle at all.
Like at one point when they're overthrowing people, getting their heads chopped off, and like it cuts away. It's cutting, like when they... Like they're using a drumstick, it cuts to a bouncing ball instead of the head. Yeah. And it's like, wow, yeah, I wonder what you guys are doing here. And like they pantomime shooting guns, and it's all good and stuff, and like...
It's all good and stuff. I mean, that wouldn't be the words I would use, but like, this was an interesting watch. It's very much mesmerized. So... Yeah, it's very much so not animated, but done in like a very rough cutout style.
Cutout or like storybook?
Yeah, and even without the